Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I wanted to talk about something because we are right in the middle of Matt and I were trying to count, I think it's our 9th flip house. And some things have come up, and I think I have touched on some of this during a different podcast, but it doesn't hurt to, in case you've missed it, or these are kind of some more things that have come up while we're flipping this house. It's so funny, the more people you talk to and the more professionals you talk to when you're hiring people to work on your projects, just the more and more you learn, which is one of my favorite things about flipping and what we're doing here. We learn something new every single time in every single project. So basically, I just kind of want to talk about what to spend money on and what to skip when you're flipping a house, because so many people think that they have to have this massive budget and they have to, tear everything out, but you don't. And knowing where to spend your money, and then just as important, where you don't need to, it's just so important. So I thought I'd talk about some of that because these are some real examples of what in this project right now that we have been, going over. And one thing that I did differently in this project that I haven't really done in other projects is I've actually, because as you work in a flip house and, you're going through the projects, or you're actually, it's so funny. It's not like you're living there, but you're there every day, right? And you're seeing how the house or the yard or the garage, whatever it is, how it functions or how it could be better. And so not until you're actually in it and working in it do some of these things come up. And so in this flip, I have had people come out just because I wanted to get a rough estimate. I've wanted quotes on different projects just to see actually what this idea or project would cost. So number one, that's something you should do. And especially for us, we had a 5-year gap between these projects. And the whole pandemic and the whole real estate and the whole everything has changed, just everything involving flipping. Prices have gone up. Things are just different. And so it was good for us to have these people, come through and say, yep, this can be done for this amount of money. And then that gave us a more educated guess and an educated knowledge of what we should and shouldn't do and what the project was worth doing and what it wasn't. So I thought I'd just share some of those things that have come up or some of these ideas, because I do get a lot of questions about flipping and what it looks like. And so I thought this might be helpful to some of you. Not everything has to be ripped out. Just because something is dated doesn't mean it's worthless. So for example, in this flip, the bathroom has the original porcelain blue bathtub. It is original. It is vintage, but it's blue. It has no chips, no scratches, no dings or anything in it. It is in pristine condition. And so a lot of people think, we got to rip that out. It's a blue bathtub. So when we initially were kind of going back and forth about it, I'm like, I can just work with the blue bathtub because it is in such good condition. Now, there are a couple of plumbing. There was a slight leak with the overflow part in the tub and then the drain. But that was just some plumbing that we had fixed. So that wasn't anything with the actual tub. Easy fix, didn't cost a lot of money to get it fixed. So the options are, do you work around the blue tub? And I've been sharing a lot of behind the scenes on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. So definitely make sure you're following along on all those places. Everything is pretty much My Creative Days. If you go to the platform, look up My Creative Days, you will find me. So I've been sharing kind of behind the scenes as we're working through things. And so many people have said, work with the blue tub. Like, that's amazing. Work with the blue tub. And forever, and still, I should say, we have not done anything to the blue tub. As I'm recording this, I have not decided. But I did have somebody come in and tell me, what would it cost? We have painted tubs, and we have painted tile. And in this particular bathroom, we will have to paint the tile again. We don't need to hire anybody to do that. It is a simple DIY project. I have it on my website, mycreativedays.com. If you just search paint tile, you will see how we do it. There's a video in there as well, so you can see how we do it. We are going to have to paint the tile. Again, all of the tile is in pristine condition, but the actual like porcelain, soap dish was cracked. So we took that out, and then we had to fill the spot where that was with 2 tiles. And we just went into Home Depot, got 2 white tiles and put them on. We put the tile backing and everything on those 2 areas. So we do have to paint it so that it all matches. We're just painting it white. But again, it's in pristine condition, and this was an easy and cost-effective way. You don't have to rip out all the tile. If you don't like the color, paint it. It can be easily done. And if you don't want to DIY that, people can do that. And that's something I'm going to get into here in a minute. But we have painted tile in a few of our flips, and it works tremendously. I wanted to have somebody come in and tell me what it would cost to have it professionally, have the blue tub professionally refinished and painted white. And so I had him come in. I had him, talk to me about the different things he offers, the different things he can do, which I had no idea that these kinds of things could even be done. So if we come across another project, I now have this contact with this guy that can do so much more in bathrooms and things if we come across it. So you learned so much just with meeting with people and just seeing what's out there. So for him to come in and professionally, paint the tub and get it all done, I think he says it takes a day-ish. It was around $700 to $800. Now, again, our tub is in great condition, and this cost is going to be different no matter what, in different parts of the country and all of that. But and he said so many young flippers, they would come in, see this blue tub, the tile, and just rip it all out. And now we're talking $10,000 to $15,000 for a new bathroom that doesn't need it. So just because it's dated doesn't mean it's worthless and has to be, ripped out. Think about what other options are there, or can you work with it? It depends on what you're doing too. Are you renting this property, flipping this property to sell? That's a big factor to think about, because if you're selling, it looks a little different than if you're renting. The same thing goes for cabinets. If they're in great condition structurally, you don't need to replace them. Paint them, add new hardware. Maybe you just need to freshen them up with kind of like a restore a finish, or like a stain that goes over already stained cabinets, which is what we did in our last flip. The cabinets were in great condition. They just needed a little zhuzhing on the outside, but the insides were in great condition. Now, the one that we're working on now, which is all original from the 60s, the drawer, boxes, they're plastic, and they've been fixed multiple times, just like glued together. So these cabinets and the countertops, we're pretty sure we're going to have to replace them just because it's dated. If these cabinets were in perfect condition, I would definitely have painted them, because they do not make cabinets like they used to. These we just don't think are in good enough condition to salvage them. And buyers and renters care about clean and functional, not whether something came from a high-end showroom. Obviously, if you're doing high-end homes, that's different. You have to know, what is this house worth in the end? And okay, it's worth this in the end. So what parameters do I have to work with? So I don't really need marble countertops here. I could maybe get a laminate countertop and be just fine. Those all go into it, but just because it's dated doesn't mean it's worthless and you have to rip it out. Number 2, think of ROI, not just the looks. You have to prioritize what will give you a real return on your investment. So downstairs, if you go down the stairs, there is a family room, and the carpet is a Berber carpet. Pretty sure it's been there since the 70s. I mean, they didn't do much, but I didn't mind the color. It's a nice bright colored carpet, but literally when we bought the house and it had all the furniture and everything in it. When we removed the furniture and there was a big ping pong table down there, the indentations in the carpet are so funny because literally they never moved a piece of furniture after they set it there. So there's some indentations, and there were a couple of stains, but they weren't pet stains. They never had pets. So it was just, just some over the years, some spots. And so anyway, I went in and I got new carpet quoted. So I didn't go with like a real high-end carpet. I just wanted, the regular pad and a nice carpet, but nothing, super high-end. That was going to cost us around $2,600 for that room. Now, granted, it was going to cost me about $250 to get it professionally cleaned. So I had those two prices, in front of me. So it got to the point in our budget for this project. Do we add another bathroom in the lower level? There's only one bathroom in this house. Or do I get new carpet in? And the bathroom was going to be $1,600. It's about $1,100. So maybe $1,500. Was going to be $1,100 to add another toilet and sink in the basement. Over $2,600 for new carpet. So here's my, return on investment, right? Another bathroom is going to sell so much better than this carpet. And after we got it cleaned, they even came back in and touched up some areas. The carpet looks amazing. So, it's like a no-brainer, but you do have to think about your return on investment, not just the looks. Having a second bathroom is going to add more value. So when you walk out the back door, there is we love the backyard of this house. It's got mature trees, and we here in Cedar Rapids, we had a derecho come through about 5 years ago, and it literally took out all the mature trees. It's so sad and everything. There are no trees, but this house has a massive tree that survived, and it's got some other trees that survived as well. So it's just shaded. I'm telling you, I miss trees and I miss the shade. But, and it's kind of got this, it's original from the 60s, but it's kind of got this patio cover. It's metal, but it's got a great little patio. It's got a paved patio, a paver patio. And so I wanted to have somebody come in and tell me how much it would cost to pour concrete for this patio. And then also it doesn't have a walkway from the house to the garage. And then I wanted to add a garbage pad for the garbage cans, if that makes sense, kind of next to the garage. So I wanted to get that, Matt and I talked about it and we're like, yes, this would be amazing. We had the guy come out and he was actually digging around and he's like, okay, this is what we would have to do. And we even said, hey, we'll remove all the pavers. There's this window covering thing that we're like, we'll lift that if that needs to be done first. We had talked about other ways that we could save on the cost of this. And so he's like, okay, great. If you'll do this and this, yes, I will go ahead and give you a quote for what it would cost. It came back to like $7,600. That was way above what we thought, right? And we were even thinking, we're doing all this. We can even remove this other stuff that they said they do. That was just, the pavers will be fine for now. But, maybe in a couple of years, if we decide to keep this and rent it, we would do some concrete. And I can always get more quotes. With that was kind of in the best case scenario. I would love to have this paved, have a little sidewalk here, blah, blah, blah. I want to know what the price would be. Like, I just wanted a roundabout price. Again, that was something that we were like, no, it's not, if we need a whole new kitchen, everything else needed updated in the house. And it's things that the house actually needed, right? Like the electrical needed updated. We had some plumbing that needed updated. Like those are things that have to, happen. Those are top priority, if that makes sense. All the windows need replaced. Those are top priority. I'm taking a quick break from the episode to share some exciting news with you. If you have ever wanted to flip furniture for extra cash, a creative outlet, or to build a business but didn't know where to start, there's never been a better time. My Furniture Flipping Academy is now just $79, which is over $200 off the original price. Inside, you'll learn how to find amazing pieces on a budget or for free, how to transform them step by step, sanding, painting, staging, all the things, how to price and sell for real profit, and even know how to work with brands to grow your flipping business in more ways than you know. And that's just the start. There is so much more waiting for you inside the Academy. We have so much packed inside the Academy. It's completely self-paced. Once you buy it, it's yours for life. There are no deadlines. There's no pressure. We do have a sneak peek inside the link in the show notes. It will give you a glimpse inside the Academy. And here's the truth. Nothing changes unless you do. You can keep waiting for the right time, or you can take this step now. At $79, the price isn't holding you back anymore. So stop hesitating. Stop making excuses. Click the link and get started today. So here's a simple breakdown that you can kind of help make smart choices. Save on carpets. If you can clean it instead of replacing it, if it's in decent shape, do that. Bathtubs, refinish them instead of just ripping them out. Cabinets, paint and new hardware go a long, long, long way. Patios and outdoor spaces, reuse existing materials if you can. So we had thought about, we could rip up all those pavers and, redo it. I don't know if we're going to do that, but I mean, that would be a huge job, but that is something we could do. That would be a lot more cost effective. Fixtures and trim, paint, swap out pieces, or buy secondhand. We are at Restore almost every day, if not every other day, looking for things that we can reuse, or new, there's new things inside Restore as well, that we can get really cheap for these flip houses. And like interior doors, you don't have to rip them all out. You can add a fresh coat of paint, new knobs can totally refresh them. Sometimes, like in this house, all I had to do was add some Restore finish on the trim and the doors. They're not perfect, but they're so much better than they were. And, adding all new trim around the doors and, the base of the floor, everything. I mean, that does get pricey when you're buying wood these days is not cheap. So when you're buying all new, that can get pricey. Again, that is something that we look for at Restore because they will get shipments of brand new trim. So if we find that, we always stock up on it. But of course, we haven't found any when we really, really have needed it. But anyway, splurge on bathrooms and kitchens. Buyers notice these areas, right? Even modest upgrades pay off. So don't think you have to rip everything out, but just paying attention to the bathrooms and the kitchens and just making sure they're like the best that they can be. They notice that. Adding functionality. So this is another thing. So more bathrooms, open floor plans. Maybe it's a laundry room on the main level. Again, depending on what the house is. For us, for functionality, there were no ceiling fans in this house. None. So we added 2. It just helps with the flow. Brand new windows. They have the original 1960s aluminum windows. They are not energy efficient. Some of them don't work. There's some rot around the trim of them. We need new windows, right? The bathroom one, it's not up to code. So, you want tempered glass in a bathroom. There's actually a window in the shower, so that needs to be tempered glass. In the 60s, they didn't have that code. So anyway, the functionality of the house, some electrical, there were some down in the storage area. She had pole chain light bulbs and they didn't work. They would get caught up. And I'm like, we have the electrical guy coming in and he's like, everything's on like one fuse, right? And he's like, I need to switch these all out. Yes, we want this to be the safest, move the fridge on a fuse or whatever else you have to do. But then I'm like, can we just add a simple switch right here in this back room so these lights just come on? He's like, yeah, that's super simple. So it's the functionality of that stuff. And when you are working on the projects, you're like, okay, I can't reach the light bulb and I have to get a ladder every time to turn this on. You're like, a switch right here would be great. You know what I mean? So it's just those functionality things that go a long way for people that are going to rent or buy from you. So major systems like, again, roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, these are things that must work well, that are top on your list, right? Those are top on your list, even when you're going to look at a property. Curb appeal. First impressions matter. Paint, clean, plants, even a new mailbox can do wonders. So again, if you've watched me on any of the platforms, the front of this flip alone, it's night and day. And what makes me so happy is people that have seen this house initially when we first got it, they have driven down the street since we've got it and they don't recognize that that's the house. Like they will drive right by it because they just cannot believe how clean and bright and happy. And we had to add a retaining wall in the front. We added all new landscaping. There were massive bushes and trees in the front that were so overgrown. It was so bad. It looks like a different house already, and we don't even have the new windows in it. So curb appeal, it's a big, it can be a big job. That was a lot of work for us, but that's something that you should, I don't necessarily say splurge on, but if you listen to my podcast about the Earl May DIY dynamic design service they have, if you have an Earl May near you or within driving distance, I am telling you, it's like getting free landscaping advice and knowledge for your needs. So for your own home, Go and take advantage of that. It is an unbelievable service I didn't even know existed, and we used it on this flip house. I'm telling you, if you have an Earl May, call them about this service. Just call them and set it up. You will be amazed. You will learn so much. There's no stress. They will work within your budget. You basically, I'm not going to go all into it because you can listen to the podcast, but it's an amazing service, and I think everybody needs to know about it. So, okay, number 4, or I think I went off. I don't even think this is number 4 anymore. So keep your emotions out of it. It's so easy to flip with your heart instead of your head. This is business. This is not personal. You want the space to be gorgeous, high-end, Instagram worthy, but when you're flipping to sell or to rent, you're not designing your dream home, right? You're making something that sells or rents. No one is going to care about the chandelier if it's a designer name or whatever. If there aren't enough bathrooms, the layout and the ripping down walls and ripping out the blue tub, it's not going to matter. This is what you should do. Always ask, will this help the house sell faster or for more money? Will this help the house rent faster and for higher rent, depending on what you're doing? If the answer is no, save your money. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Quick budget smart tips. So these are just some things. If you want a statement wall, paint it instead of using wallpaper or shiplap. Cheaper. Paint is your best friend. Just paint a statement wall. Want an updated exterior? Paint the front door, add some new numbers, or in our case, we just spray painted the old numbers in the mailbox. They look brand new. They look so much better. Need a vanity upgrade? Buy secondhand or clearance. Switch the faucet and knobs. And here's a little thing that this actually happened this weekend. I got to share this on Instagram. We were actually in Home Depot. And so we were there looking for what we thought we were going to have to go with to save on the budget was a 30-inch vanity for the bathroom upstairs. And so we're in there and Matt's like $500. And I'm like, there were less expensive options here. What is going on? So we found some that were less expensive and Matt was starting to get them down off the shelf and we got one of those carts. And so I'm walking on the other side of the aisle and I see their yellow clearance tags. And I'm like, this one says $125. And it's a 36-inch, which would actually work in the bathroom we have. We can do that with the space we have, still get the new toilet in, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, Matt, this one says $125. But of course, where the spot is, they're no longer there. So it's like, oh gosh, we just missed it. It wasn't exactly the color I wanted to use in the bathroom, but I'm like, a 36-inch with for $125 when I'm over here looking at $300 for a 30-inch. Let's just see. So at that time, a Home Depot worker came down and he's like, can I help you? And we're like, yeah, where is this? And so he clicks it and he's like, is that right? And so up above, there were 2 left. And so he clicked the price and it rang up. The price up above said it was on clearance for $399. But it rang up on his thing at $125. So we were able to get a 36-inch vanity for $125, which is a steal. We were so thrilled. We had to get a more expensive faucet to work with this, but it was like $40 more. So we're still way under what we would have had to spend. Side note, if you're buying vanities at those stores, the hard thing is you really don't want to take the whole box apart because the way they are, you need them together to get them home. We got the first one home. They only had 2 left in store. We got the first one home, opened it. The whole vanity the top of it, the sink and everything was cracked. Oh, we were so mad. Took it back and we exchanged it for the other one, but it's just that extra wasted time. But make sure you look that stuff over before you don't like pick it up and then let it sit for a month and a half because you're not at that part yet. Make sure you check it as soon as you get home because if you've got to take it back, you want to make sure you do it right away. So every dollar counts, especially on tight budgets. And with all these projects, we have a tight budget. We kind of strive on, we really want to see if we can do it under $10,000 or $15,000, whatever it is. Every house is different, but we really try to do these and save money wherever we can. So I thought this might help you. These are some things that we've learned just now in this flip house. I think I've talked about some of these things before on podcasts, but some new things that we're learning and some new people we've learned and things that they actually can help us do in maybe future projects. So it's a win-win all the time when you have somebody come out and give you a quote, and just to see what your different options are. So flipping houses isn't just about swinging hammers and making things look pretty. I'm telling you, it's about being strategic, staying on budget, and making smart choices that boost value. If you found this episode helpful, if you enjoyed this podcast, I'd love it if you could take just a minute to rate and review the podcast. No matter where you're listening, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else, your support truly helps us. It not only helps more people find the show, but it also lets me know what kind of content you're loving. So if you have a second, tap the stars, leave a quick review, share the podcast with your friends and family that might find this topic interesting. I love it when you share the podcast. And know that I appreciate every single one of you who leaves us a review, shares the podcast. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you next time. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.